Namaste, beautiful yogis. This is going to be a beginner level yoga class, specifically focusing on tight hamstrings, lower back, legs. Let's begin at the front of our mat, feet together. Bring your arms out to your sides, palms facing forward, and begin to deepen your breath. Nice deep inhalations, opening the chest as you inhale, followed by complete exhalations. As you exhale, let's bring the hands out to the sides, parallel to the floor. Really reach through your fingertips. And let's reach all the way towards the ceiling, over the head. Relax your shoulders down, extend your tailbone down, and let's clasp the hands and reach over to one side in a side stretch, keeping the tailbone tucked under. Back to center, exhale over to the other side, keeping both feet equally grounded in your mat. Back to center, lift, exhale, reach all the way towards the floor with your legs bent here. Inhale, look ahead of you with your back straight, legs slightly or as much as you need bent at the knees. And let's bring the chest over the thighs and just hang heavy. You can rest your chest on your legs and just allow your head to be heavy here so that your neck is relaxing, your head is relaxing. You can swing slightly side to side. Great. Bring your hands on the floor and step all the way back into plank. Slowly lower yourself with control onto your belly. Hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, lengthen the back of your neck and come up into COBRA. Exhale down. And let's bring the hands behind us, either clasping. If you cannot clasp, you can hold a towel, or you can just have your hands pointing or reaching back and come up. Relax your shoulders. Exhale, lower down. And the next option is to have your palms of your hands facing each other, lifting your chest off the mat and lower back down, so that we are establishing a connection with the lower back here. And let's do one more COBRA. Hands underneath the shoulders. Lift your chest off of your mat, really lengthening the lower back here. Try not to compress your lower back as you lift. Keep your elbows into your rib cage and keep them bent. Don't straighten your elbows here in COBRA. And when you're ready, let's spread the fingers open and step back into downward facing dog with your heels off the floor and your knees bent. Here you're gonna focus on your hand alignment and your tailbone alignment. You can walk in place, lowering one heel at a time. You can stay steady. Either way, make sure you spread your fingers wide open, as wide as you can, pressing into the base of each finger and into each and every knuckle, and at the same time lifting the center of the palm of your hand off of your mat. Really try to reach towards the ceiling with your tailbone, so you're finding all this length in your spine, decompressing your spine. Keep your knees bent and continue lifting. The head is between your triceps, and we're gonna slowly walk the hands back towards the feet. Legs are bent. Bring your chest over your thighs and rest one more time. Breathe into your lower back. Slowly walk your hands all the way to the front of your mat. Come onto your tippy toes. Lift through your tailbone. Pull your belly in. Draw your navel in towards your spine. And breathe. Nice deep inhalations. Focus on the length, elongation in your spine here. Relaxing your neck, softening the face muscles, softening the jaw. And let's step the feet to the front of the mat between the hands, or jump the feet between the hands, a small hop, and come into chair pose. Sit back. Inhale, come up to standing, reach all the way over your head. Exhale, hands over the heart. Big breath in. Reach with your hands all the way over your head one more time, and we're gonna do again side stretches. Try to keep your body in the same plane and reach over to one side and then over to the other, keeping the feet planted in your mat. Back to center. Exhale, your hands down, keeping your legs and your knees are bent here, and just breathe into your hamstrings. You can step your feet now a little wider than hip width apart, so your feet are gonna be by the edges of your mat, and just clasp, bring your elbows around your wrist around the elbows, and just allow the upper body to hang heavy. You can bend your knees much more than I'm bending my knees here in this particular forward bend. Just listen to your body and see where you're at. Next thing, we're gonna bend the knees and come into a squat, yogic squat. Your feet are pointed out, and if you struggle with flexibility in your ankles and knees and hips, your heels are not gonna be on the floor. That is fine. You can have your heels off the floor, staying on your toes, and your hands can be in front of you to support you if you're struggling with your balance. Just allow yourself to stay here for a few moments, a few breaths, so you can actually work on the flexibility of your joints. If your back is rounded here, that is another sign that you are struggling with flexibility in your joints. And let's come out of this. Straighten your legs, still keeping your knees slightly bent, and bring your elbows and your wrists around your elbows, and just hang one more time, allowing the spine to decompress and breathing into your lower back and your hamstrings. Great, let's slowly walk the feet or step the feet together at the front of the mat, and one more time, just rest here in a forward bend. We're giving the body the opportunity to really allow the hamstrings to relax, working with the breath. To come out of this, slowly roll your body up, rolling up to standing. Inhale, your hands over the head, reach over your head, look up. Exhale, keep your back straight and bring your hands down, either on the floor if they're not touching the floor, on your legs. Inhale, look ahead of you with your back straight, knees are bent. And let's bring the hands on the floor and jump or walk back into plank, lower down. Inhale, either COBRA or upward facing dog, only if you're familiar with upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. We're doing, for the entire length of this class, a modified version of downward facing dog. You can see me demonstrating it here. Inhale, your right leg up, and let's bring the right foot between your hands. You can help with your hand to bring your right foot on the floor between the hands to step it through. Coming into low lunge, let's leave the left hand on the floor and bring your right hand up towards the ceiling. You can keep your back leg straight, or you can bring your left knee on the floor and just allow your hands to reach away from each other. Keep your back wide and your shoulders down. Great. And let's bring both hands on the floor. You can bring them over your knees and come up into a high lunge. If your lunge is not as wide, just bend your knee and try to keep your right knee above your ankle. Do not overlap your knee over your toes. You can reach over your head, and as you exhale, bring your hands on the floor, plank. Slowly lower down onto your belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower down and press back into downward facing dog, a modified version of downward facing dog. Knees are bent and tailbone is really high, so that you are really lifting your hips high and your spine is straight. And let's bring the left foot between the hands, stepping the foot between the hands into low lunge. Keep your right hand on the floor, left arm reaches up in a twist here. You can lower your back knee on the floor. Keep your hips square. Focus on your hips here. Shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Exhale, soften your belly. Go deeper into this twist. Great. When you're ready, bring your hands on the floor. From here, we're gonna bring them on to the left leg into high lunge, and let's inhale the hands all the way over the head. Exhale, both hands on the floor. The left knee is over the left ankle. And step back plank. Lower down onto your belly. Press your toes down into your mat. Extend your tailbone down. Lift cobra, really using the lower back muscles here. Lift your hands off the floor and see how much of your back muscles you're using to lift into cobra. Try not to rely completely on your arms lifting you up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Modify your downward facing dogs up until you achieve fluidity and flexibility in the back of your legs. Sorry, my dog just got a new toy. Alright, and one more time, let's walk the hands back towards the legs and just rest your belly onto your legs, keeping the knees bent. Hang and allow your head to be heavy. Try not to support your head for once. Just allow your head to be heavy so the neck is completely relaxed. Great. And let's walk the hands towards the front of the mat. Staying high on the feet, on the tippy toes. Lift your heels high off the mat. Spread your fingers open and rotate your triceps in towards your ears. Great. Let's step the right foot between the hands. Coming into a low lunge. One more time, twist. Bring the right hand up towards the ceiling. Left hand on the floor. Exhale, both hands down. Let's bring them over the right knee. Hands together, palms of the hands together in prayer. And we're gonna twist here and bring the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Exhale, soften your belly and allow this twist to go a little deeper. Allow yourself to go deeper in your twist. It's extremely detoxifying, great for reducing abdominal fat. Slowly come back out of this, hands on the inside of your foot, right knee above the right ankle. Do not allow your knee to come forward, and tuck your tailbone under. Breathe into your quadriceps on the left side. Great. And step back into downward facing dog. Find the place in downward facing dog that you can maintain and feel the stretch in your hamstrings. Next side, let's step the left foot between the hands, lower the back knee down on the floor, or you can lift it off the floor, it's optional, however you did it on the other side, and go into a twist here. Lift your right hand up towards the ceiling, reaching and opening the chest. Soften the belly, go deeper in this twist. Allow your twist to happen as you exhale. Great. Hands on the floor, hands on the leg, and we're gonna bring the palms of the hands together in prayer and bring the right elbow on the outside of the left knee. Open the chest. Exhale, soften the belly. Drop the shoulders down. Look past your shoulder. Slowly come out of this, hands on the inside of the left foot. You can walk your right foot away from you just so that you're making sure that your left knee here is either above or behind your left ankle. And really breathe into your quadriceps here. We're stretching the hip flexors on the right side. Great. Stepping back into downward facing dog. Feel free throughout this sequence to hold any of these poses for longer if it feels that this is your particular area of tightness and you need work there. Back to downward facing dog. Go back to the same alignment with the knees bent and the fingertips spread open, the shoulders away from the ears, the belly is drawing in. Walking in place. And either hop to the front of the mat or walk to the front of the mat, chair pose. Inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, hands over the heart. And let's step the feet about 3 to 4 feet apart. Inhale, bring your hands on your hips, look up. Exhale, lower down into a wide-legged forward bend. Your feet are pointing forward here, actually even slightly in, so that the outer edges of your feet are parallel to each other. Optional for people that cannot reach the floor here, even with the knees bent, is a chair. You can bring a chair in front of you and hold on to the chair or rest your forehead on the chair. While you are stretching your hamstrings, feel free to keep your knees bent the entire time. Just push your hips slightly back so your knees are not coming forward. Just your hips are going back when you bend. Holding the chair, you can bring your chair closer to you or underneath your forehead and just rest your forehead there so your neck is resting as well. Find your level here. And let's bring the hands over the right leg and over the left leg, stretching one leg at a time here. And back to center. Hanging here, you can wrap your wrists around your elbows and just hang here. At the same time, your knees are bent and your hips are slightly back. Try to press into the outer and inner edges of your feet here. Don't just press into the outer edges of your feet. Try to maintain your foot alignment and come up with your back straight. Next, we're gonna use the chair or some step that you have around you to step your right foot on the chair. You can lean forward and keep your back heel down on the floor. Switch sides. Keep your heel back so you're stretching your calves here, and you're gonna tuck the tailbone under so you are stretching your hip flexors one more time. This is also good for your hips. It's a mild hip opener. And let's come out of this. Come to the front of your mat. Inhale your hands over your head. Exhale, hands on the floor. Keeping the knees bent and step back into plank, jump back into plank, chaturanga, either upward dog or cobra. Exhale in downward facing dog. And let's bring the knees down on the floor and come into a seated. Slowly lower yourself down all the way onto your back. And let's bring the left ankle just above the right knee. You're gonna have your right knee bent here as demonstrated, and you're gonna reach between your legs and clasp your hands behind your right leg, right knee. Bring your knees in towards you. Right knee comes in towards you, left knee presses away from you. This is a hip opener. You should feel this in your left hip, possibly in your right hamstrings if you have tight hamstrings, and you can even feel it in your inner thigh. You can use a towel here if you cannot reach all the way behind your leg. And you can press your left leg away from you here also, allowing for the hip to open a little more. And let's bring the right foot on the floor. Left ankle is still above the knee, and you can lift your hips off the mat once or twice. Switch sides. Let's go over to the other side. Same thing. This time the right ankle would be right above the left knee. Bring your legs in towards you and just press your right knee away from you here so that we are opening the hip a little furthermore. Breathe. Keep your lower back down. Try to relax your breath as much as you can, especially if you're dealing with a level of inflexibility in your legs. And let's lower the foot down on the floor, lift the hips up into a bridge and release. Let's bring the right knee in towards the chest, holding the leg in, and switch sides. Left knee in towards the chest, press the opposite leg down into the floor and breathe. Feel free to use a towel here if you need to. And come up to seated. You can take the flesh away from the bones and open the flesh of your hamstrings away. Inhale, reach over your head. Exhale, folding forward. Keep your knees bent here, and if you have a towel or a strap, you can bring the strap around your feet and lower forward as much as you can without going into a place where it's uncomfortable or it feels like pain. You just want to feel the stretch, but the stretch should be mild so that you're not tightening the way you hold your body and the way you breathe. Let's open the feet out to the sides. Knees are pointing up, toes are pointing up. Flex your quadriceps, and if you're really tight in your hamstrings, you can bring your hands behind you and press yourself forward. If you can't even do that, you can sit with your back to a wall and press forward, or sit straight. Try to maintain a straight back with your legs open out to the sides. Slowly bring your legs together, and one more time let's do forward bend. And one more time, open the legs out to the sides, flex your toes, pull your toes back in towards you. You can bring a chair underneath your forehead and just rest here. You can pause the video and stay here for 30 seconds to 2 minutes, as long as the stretch feels soft and comfortable. If you feel that you can go without a chair, just bring your hands behind you, press yourself forward, maintaining a straight back. Try to have the back straight the entire time. Don't worry about folding forward or bringing your head towards the floor. Just try to maintain your alignment. And let's look over to the right leg and bring the chest over to the right. Walk your hands over to the left. Keep pressing the opposite leg into the floor so your legs are still pressing down. And come back to center at the level you feel that best suits you. You can bring your hands in front of you as well, as long as you can maintain a straight back. And let's bring the right elbow over the right knee and reach over with your left hand over the head. Come back to center, over to the other side. Back to center. Bring your legs halfway in, shake them, and you can bring your feet together, opening the knees out in butterfly. Holding the feet here, take a few breaths in Baddha Konasana. And when you're ready, you can come into Child's Pose. Knees are either hip width apart or together. Bring the hands by your heels and lower down. If you can't reach the floor with your forehead, bring a block or a pillow underneath your forehead. And just allow your shoulders to drop completely, not holding your shoulders here. Try to find where you hold tension and let it go. Drop the shoulders, allow the neck to relax, soften your face muscles, soften your gaze. Breathe into your lower back. Allow your rib cage to really drop onto your legs. If you're really tight, you can put the pillow between your sitting bones and your heels. When you're ready, come back up into downward facing dog. Lifting the tailbone as high as you can, finding the most elongation you can find in your spine. And step or jump your feet forward, chair pose. Come up to standing, step your feet 3.5, 4 feet apart. And let's straighten both legs. Reach with your right hand way ahead of you, triangle pose. We're gonna rotate open the left hip here. The toes on the left side are slightly in. Lifting the arches of your feet here. If you have to, spread your toes a little wider so that you're activating your feet. Hands are reaching away from each other. Come out of this, step a little wider and lower into Warrior 2. Hands are reaching away from each other. Right knee is above the right ankle. Try to look at your knee and make sure your knee is not pulling in. And let's switch sides. Feet are around 3.5 feet apart, depending on your height and flexibility. And reach ahead of you. Lower your left hand somewhere onto the left leg, above or below the knee, on your shin bone, ankle. Try to open your right hip up, rotate the hip up towards the ceiling. You can keep your knees bent here if you cannot straighten your legs. Relax your shoulders down, look up. Try not to let your head hang here. Try to maintain the alignment of your neck. Come out of this and step a little wider into Warrior 2. Making sure that your left knee is over your left ankle. Slowly come out of this, feet pointing forward, hands on the hips, lower down. You can keep your knees bent here. You can use your chair for support. If you can't touch the floor, just touch the floor and take a few nice deep breaths in here. Great, let's walk the hands to the front of the mat, coming into lunge, hands on the inside of the right foot. Low lunge. Step your feet back and step the left foot at the front of the mat. You can bring your foot with your hand. Low lunge, breathe into your hip flexors, hips. Hamstrings. And step it back. Knees on the floor, one more time, child's pose. And stay in child's pose for as long as you need to. At the end of your practice, allowing the breath to come to normal. Namaste.